Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you your voice isn't just meant to be heard, but felt? There's a fire in your story, a truth the world needs, but too many are still whispering when they were born to resonate. I'm Brad Walsh, and I created a free masterclass called Empower Your Voice, 5 Secrets to Becoming an In-Demand Podcast Guest, because I believe your voice deserves a stage. If you're ready to speak with power, purpose, and presence, it's time to own your truth, be heard, and be unforgettable. Click the link in the show notes to sign up now. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Nubbia Quezada. She is a spirit connector, a healer, and a spiritual mentor that guides others on their journeys of self-discovery and transformation. And she's also a speaker. Welcome, Nubbia. I am so excited to have you here. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing great. Kids are in school. I have the house for myself. I'm good.
Beautiful. I am so excited to have you here. Honored to have you as a guest. And I'm looking forward to jumping in and sharing all about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a bit about your story, your journey, all the things, Nubbia. So with that being said, let's jump right in. You wear a hell of a lot of hats, and that resume is quite extensive. But all of these things, it would seem, are tied very closely together, and that one thread that ties it all together is spirituality. So what was the moment or the experience that first cracked you open to your spiritual path, and how did you know this work was your soul's calling?
What actually fully cracked me open was when my brother took his life. And that unleashed every part of me. Like, it took off all the masks that I didn't even know I had on. But I didn't quite get there until I met my brother face to face when he was in his casket. So I've always been connected to spirit. And when I was younger, I didn't really know that it was like a thing, what it was called, like this connection. It was just more of a feeling and a knowing. And the connection actually started with my grandmother when she died. So when she passed away, she came to visit me. And I was about 9 years old, and I was fully awake in bed, and I felt her presence, I felt her energy, and I felt her love. And she just waited for me to just calm down a little bit, because my heart rate, I remember my heart was racing a little bit. And then she just sat beside me, and I felt the bed just sink a little bit. And then I felt her, her hand, like this pressure on my leg. And then again, she waited for me to calm down, just to know that I was safe. And then she laid beside me. She gave me this beautiful, warm hug. And then she whispered in my ear, "Everything's going to be okay." And I held on to that throughout my entire life. Like, I felt guided my entire journey. And the moment I walked in to go see my brother for the first time, I was a mess. It was all the flooding emotions, more of the negative ones too, the guilt, the shame, the resentment, anger, all of that. So I had to let all of that go for the first time I saw him. And it wasn't until the second day when I walked in, and as I was walking towards him, my grandmother came through again. And I heard her saying the same thing: "Everything's going to be okay." And my whole body just flooded with this kind of like vibration and just this powerful knowing that everything was going to be okay. And then instinctively, I knew that if I can have this relationship with my grandmother, I can also have this relationship with my brother. So I walked up to him in such a different way, different tone, everything. And I just asked him I know your physical body is no longer going to be here, but your spirit is eternal. And I asked him for a sign. I asked him to send me something. I needed to know that he made it to the light, that he's on the other side, especially when it comes to, I think at that time I was with mixed emotions about the stigma and the old beliefs and things that I've been brought up, especially I was raised Catholic, so taking your own life is considered a sin and
Yeah.
all that. So I had a little bit of that in between, but just still my heart said, no, that's not true. So he did. He connected with me, not right away, but it was through someone else, which is like the beautiful part, because I can go on about this kind of stuff forever. But when we're holding a lot of negative emotions, when we're in the constant living and remembering the past or worried about the future, we are not present.
Yeah.
So when spirit wants to give you a message and you're just in those in between states, they will use a person, things, places, signs, whatever it is, a way to get to you. So my brother got through to someone else. And I don't know if you want to go through the entire story,
Mm.
but that led me to come back to a space within my own heart to know that I've always known the truth. I've always held that within me, within my heart. And it began a whole awakening, spiritual awakening and healing. And one of the things that my brother had said to me was grief was going to slowly wave into a neutral state, one of just knowing and peace. But he said that I needed to heal my own heart before I can go out in the world to help others. So that's what I did. I went into solitude essentially for several months, about 3 months, and went into the journey, deep dive in the whole shadow work, healing, and he guided me through the entire thing and just going through the lessons with the people around me, why people trigger me, or why am I upset, or why am I trying so hard to help someone that doesn't want to be helped, or just all of these different things. It was about me, not about them. So all of that came to light right in like almost served on a platter. Which one do you want to eat first? I was like, okay. So it was like that. And it was just straight to the point. I dove right into it because I knew in my heart, I knew that there was, I saw it as no other way. I
Yeah.
know that behind me, like the past, the weight, anger, all of that, I don't want to be stuck in that. I don't want to be there. I don't know what's coming or what's ahead, but it's a pretty like clean slate. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go that way. And that's what I did. And I've never looked back. I've never looked back.
So when your grandmother came to you, had you already been in touch with your spiritual side, so that was a welcomed thing? Or were you in shock and disbelief and all of those things? Because someone
Um,
who's not on their spiritual journey would be pretty
yeah.
shaken up.
So I feel like my grandmother came to me, and now that you're asking me this, but I feel like my grandmother came to me because I already knew, and I already had that connection even before her. Because as a as a little girl, I've always been very aware, and I've always been in touch with intuitive, like my intuition, in a way of what felt right, what didn't feel right, what was a truth. Even at the time, even though I was like shut down to speak my truth in many ways, but I've always still known. Because a lot of it, especially when you're younger, you stay silent because of fear. You don't want to be reprimanded, you don't want to be yelled at, you want all these things, right? But
Yeah.
I've always known. So even as a child, like even going to church and all these things, like I've always been connected and I've always had that inner voice telling me to just to keep going, take what's useful and bring it to your heart and the rest just discard. So I feel like her presence was the most rawest, most realist where I can remember even now so vividly. So I would say throughout my journey, throughout my path, I've always had this beautiful connection, and just like many, we hide that part of us.
Yeah. There's a lot of shame around talking about things like this. There are people who don't understand it, don't want to understand it, and just can't wrap their head around it. So I think there's a lot of fear for people who have these gifts, who have these spiritual gifts. around talking about it and sharing it. And
Absolutely.
it's not easy to do when there is so much shame attached to it, or so much ridicule, or whatever you want to call it, because people don't understand it. So they'd rather just shame people or say, oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, all the things, right?
Yeah, that's part of, I think that was a big part of my healing as well, because once I started doing and like diving into working on myself and understanding this beautiful connection that I had, but also that everyone has, which many are not aware that they have, they just don't want to accept it or not believe.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that people who actually have or are aware of these gifts and they know they say they can connect and all of it is just the biggest piece that's missing is the healing piece. Because even knowing what they know and what's true within their own heart, they still can't speak up. They still can't share, or, and that comes from something like deeper. And that childhood to adolescence, any part of their journey that has shaped your current reality and beliefs has put someone in this kind of like imaginary box that they've created themselves, right? So it's, for me, it's, I see a lot of that, people in this space or people who are very in tune but are still having a hard time letting go of the wounds and embracing who they are and who they've always been, right? But it's a process and it's a journey, and I understand that and I respect it as well. Everyone is on time.
For sure. But as your brother told you, you have to heal your heart first.
Yep.
So that's all tied into that healing journey and realizing that. And not everybody has or receives that guidance that tells them you have to heal yourself first before you can go forward with all of these things. I think you're pretty blessed and lucky that your brother gave you that message in order for you to know that, hey, I've got to work on me first before I start sharing these gifts that I have within me with the world.
Absolutely. And I think, so to tie it all in, I remember when me and my brother were younger, I was in high school, probably grade 9, maybe 10. And he went through his own journey and his spiritual awakening at a young age, where at the time there was no real support. But I remember there was a part or a time where he told me, he was like, looked at me right in the eyes, but it was like in a way of like almost this despair because he was of everything what he was experiencing, but he was excited and has this little bit of despair at the same time. But he told me, I don't know what it is or what we're supposed to do, but me and you, we're supposed to do something together. And I don't know what or how or when or nothing. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I know, and I remember it's like, I know, like deep down, you know it. I'm like, and at the time I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I felt bad. Like, like it just, something within me was like stirring, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And then during a meditation, and I was very vivid. And my brother, that was in the beginning, I was very, like the veil between me and my brother was just, it was very thin, and he was walking all over with me. So when I meditated, it was just like, boom, he was in there. And he said, this is it. I had to leave so I can help you from the other side.
Wow.
Now we're doing this together. So I'm going to help you. And together we're going to help humanity rise and awaken and heal and find the love within themselves. Right? He's like, you are that bridge. You are like the way to help and lead. And of course, during that time, and when I was experiencing this and trying to tell my family, they were thought like, oh my gosh, they're going crazy. Right? But right away, I knew, because it was like in that moment, I felt my brother, and I was like, and so he said, and he whispered again, he's like, this is exactly what I went through, but I couldn't go beyond, but you can.
What a beautiful gift.
I'm crying. I'm like, so I remember, so that's when I really went into solitude, because I knew that it wasn't meant for everyone to understand my journey or to know what I was going through or my experiences. Like I knew I'm not meant here to prove anything or for anyone to validate my experiences. It was just very, like, I was grounded in that moment. I just knew it. This was a solo journey for me. And then over time, just my brother essentially sent all the people that were going to be part of my path and help me evolve and grow and to feel safe in my journey and support in my journey. And it's been wonderful ever since.
I love
Yeah.
that. And what a beautiful gift that your brother gave you. That's incredible. So thank you very much
Mhm.
for sharing that and being vulnerable to
Mhm.
share all of that. That's very powerful. So before you became the guide, the healer, all the labels, who did you have to become for yourself first?
I had to become myself, not the version I created or thought I had to be. I think that is the key. So if you're listening or anyone listening, we this thought of becoming someone, it's just every time you're stepping forward, you're removing layers that don't belong to you in the first place. And it's every time that you release a layer, it's like this homecoming, right? And you come back to the person you were always meant to be, the person you were born to be, who you are. And I think that was who I had to become, was
Coming
me.
back to yourself, coming back home to yourself.
Yes.
And so if you strip away all the labels, who are you at your core? What name would your soul give you?
I've actually thought about this, and funny enough, I went through a little meditation on this, and Elandra,
Okay.
and it's one who walks between worlds,
Oh,
between the spirit and earth, and a guide to the grieving heart and awakening.
that
There's history behind the ancestral history. And I felt that. Like, I even got goosebumps even just saying that. I felt that.
incredible.
And I had to, because when I first think about it, I'm like, I almost like was thinking outside of myself. But it's no, let's go inward. And yeah,
Okay.
there's power
For
in that.
sure. Absolutely. I think that's incredible. And so, what does the word spirit mean to you? Not the Instagram version, but the real, raw, ancient version of spirit.
Spirit, the first thing I'm weaving this word that I think of is infinite, infinite love, eternal. It's what we can't see but feel. It's the wind that touches our skin. It's this beautiful knowing that we are here to experience life. So it's divinity, it's eternal, it's beautiful, even though we can't see it with the naked eye. And that's the power of the journey. It's about feeling. And if we can tap into feeling again and being in our rawness and vulnerability, spirit comes right through the silence into your heart.
You have to be open and willing to receive, though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, it's a process. I think that's one of the things that I encounter on a daily basis. And people who are, say, like struggling or or have the sense of being stuck or just not believing, perhaps again because of old beliefs and limiting beliefs. It's one of those things where the very thing that you are like denying is you're just keeping the door shut. Because even if you open it just a crack, it's like a little bit of
Yeah.
light that comes in. It's like the curiosity kind of starts to, and sometimes it's like just planting that seed. And in that, I've come through a long journey myself in understanding the journey and the human experience and where we're all at, and how it's not my job to necessarily awaken or heal. I'm not even the word healer to me. It's my healing is your healing, and your healing is my healing.
Yeah.
So I embody that light. So anything that you see within me is because it already
It's a
exists within
reflection.
you. The reflection. So that alone is like this. The seed is planted, and sometimes just with even with just prayer, that's how water seeds. And it just slowly, when the person is ready, they're ready, and then they always come through. I've had people connect with me, talk to me, and be in wow with my experiences, but still have doubt. And but then months later, even a year later, they'll come trickling back because that feeling still is there. It's always been like,
just like you said, leave the door open a little bit at least so that a bit of light can come through. But it's not your job to convince anyone. You're just here to share. And
yep.
if they're open to receive it, they will. If they're not, then the message is not going to land.
Absolutely. And it's an understanding too, right? When a message doesn't land, it's because, again, they're guarded. They're still holding on to those deep wounds, right? They see the world as being against them. And it's just, it takes time,
for sure.
right?
It's hard to break that conditioning for those that are stuck in that and don't believe or can't see it for what it is. And again, you're not here to break the conditioning. You're just here to share messages, and the work is on them. They have to do the work in order to get to the point where they can see and hear and receive.
Absolutely.
What would you say is one of the most profound messages or moments that you've ever received while channeling? And how did that moment change you?
I think for me, the moment of anchoring like the path that I was on because of, again, old patterns, old beliefs. And even though I had this beautiful connection with my brother as I progressed in the journey, of course, I'm going to encounter people who, again, who don't believe, who might have put on their beliefs or may say negative things, or just when you start putting yourself out there, again, your vulnerability, you feel naked. But there was a part, or it was a time where I felt that, am I doing something wrong? Like, I actually felt that. Like, I had this mixed emotions. And there was this time where I was in deep meditation, and all of a sudden, I saw, for me, when I see like the image of the cross, I think of Jesus. So he came through, and all my whole body went into, again, goosebumps, that feeling. And I felt so much love. And I heard, keep going. And I cried like crazy. I felt his spirit. And it was so beautiful because it's, again, the conditioned belief. And that's a whole other topic, and how we view Jesus, Yeshua. And it's one of those things that I finally was able to anchor into my own spirit and know that the path that I'm on is one driven by love and truth. So I feel that was like a pivotal moment for me to really keep going and let all that weight just vanish, essentially, and move forward. But there were so many experiences that I've had in my journey with many different modalities that I was had to awaken, to let go. All of it's about letting go, the layers of that don't belong to you, or the weight that we carry that doesn't belong to us.
We all do that. We all carry weight that does not belong to us. It's put onto us, and we continue to carry it. I'm curious, speaking of channeling, do you think that we all have that ability within us to do that?
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of, one, believing that you can, two, being able to tap into it. So what would you suggest to somebody if they wanted to start doing that? How would they get started?
So that's essentially what I do in helping people actually connect with their loved ones in spirit. So it begins with love and intention and belief. Because if you're going into it with doubt and fear, you're creating like this this block, this shield. Because spirit feels that. And they're like, he's not ready. She's not ready. And they want to come through. And they probably have already. You just didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because you're too clouded by the outside noise. And that is like society as a whole, the environment, the people you're hanging around with, the music that you listen to, just where you place yourself. And if you're constantly feeding your soul, essentially, that, you're not going to be able to receive. So a lot of times when, even without knowing anything, because that's one of the things that when people come, they see me, or they talk to me or connect with me, I could be someone like grocery store and they would just start a conversation. And it's just one of those things is you don't have to know anything. You don't have to be like label it as a psychic or a channeler or this or that. Nothing. It just, if you can just give yourself just a moment to be present with yourself and allowing your breath to anchor you in the present moment. And then just ask to be guided, ask for a sign. It's in that belief and love, because spirit speaks with love. That is the way we communicate. So when we open up, we loosen up those layers there where they can wiggle in. And once we can anchor ourselves in that, and when messages do come through or spirit does come through, is to trust. It's building the trust in our intuition and our feeling, because we've been taught not to feel, essentially. So when the feelings do arise, what usually happens, we want to push them down, we want to push them away, because sometimes it's feelings that we're not familiar
They're scary.
with. Sometimes it can bring, again, whether it's the fears or this or that. So it's about trusting right away. If something made you feel good, if something pulled you in a direction or this nudge, it's about trusting those little and anchoring within yourself too. I always say, when you're opening yourself up to spirit, to the divine, or however, universe, however you want to call it, I always like to say, protect your space, protect your own peace, because when we start to perhaps share too soon of what we're trying to do, it's a very personal experience, right? It's very easy with even just day-to-day stuff. Like, we can have a goal to do something and someone can be like, you're not going to do that. And boom, what happens? Automatically, like, our light starts to dim, our energy goes down, we get deflated, we lose that little edge, right? So it's anchor it in, create the space for it. And when you think it's not working, it's actually working. It's in the very moment when you think this is not working, or I'm crazy for even doing this. The moment that happens, you got to take that step.
I want to share something then, because so with my grandmother, she passed away. It's 4 years now, 5 years, 4 years, 4 years this year, or 5 years this year, I think, 5 years this year. And I wanted, because her and I were incredibly close, and I wanted so badly when she passed to connect with her and to talk to her, and it would not happen. I kept asking for signs and asking for signs, and so I didn't get a sign till 2 years after, I think it was. So there's that side of it too. They know if you're ready or not for that type of thing. So it's not always about paying attention, I think, or having the self-awareness, because I was ready. Like, I thought I was ready for it. I wanted it so bad. And maybe part of it is that I wanted it too bad. And she's like, no, you're not ready yet. Until I finally got it, when I was completely unexpected, out of nowhere. I thought, it clicked. I realized after it happened the first time, and I thought, holy shit, this is why it took so long, is because she knew that I wasn't ready for it. But how did she know and I didn't know? It still boggles my mind when I think about it, the fact that she knew I wasn't ready, and that's why it wasn't coming. So there's that aspect of it too. You may think you're ready, you may talk like you're ready, but they know you're not, so they're not going to give you any kind of sign. They're not going to communicate with you.
A lot of times, like, even with your experience, when you do have finally like that encounter, that spirit connection, when you realize those past 2 years, it's not just that spirit didn't want to connect or they know when to connect with you. It's those feelings that are arising, perhaps the anxiousness, the fears, or this like anger. I'm like, am I doing this right? Like, why isn't it happening? Or you feel like abandoned. All of that is actually a reflection of your wound. So it's stuff that you're already carrying, and it's still lingering there. So you're not meeting it from a place of love. You're meeting it from a place of almost kind of like a little scarcity, a little bit of, again, the sense of like abandonment, this need, like in this place of lack.
So I'm wondering then it was a matter of me having to let go of that in order to open up to receive. And I find it funny that now, over the past little while, I talk to her every day. I go on walks every morning and I talk to her every day, and I've been asking her for signs and nothing comes. It's like I get the odd one, whereas before I was getting signs every single time I asked, every time. So I started thinking, I wonder if she's at a point where she believes that I don't need to receive them as often anymore because I've progressed in my spiritual journey, or is it I'm wanting it too bad again? Like I was questioning this morning even.
Yeah. So with what you just said is actually very common, and it is part of your, once you become aware of the spiritual path that you're on, like you've always been on it, you just
Yeah.
weren't aware of it, but now that you become aware of it, that's actually very common to experience, because when you're in that space, and it's actually something I went through as well, which it was a big learning experience for me, because I was getting all the signs, I was connected with my brother all the time. I was like walking on clouds. That's how I felt. Like it was
Yeah.
just so beautiful. And then it was just
Yeah.
gone. And so I'm like, okay. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week starts to go by, and I start to feel that anxiousness feeling. And I started to, like, a little bit of that resentment started to come through, a little bit of the anger started to come through. And I actually felt like, why are you doing this? You were with me this entire time and you're just gone. So I did have a sense of, I felt like a sense of
Yeah.
abandonment in that moment. And then it wasn't until I started actually essentially making myself sick, because when, again, those, we feed it's like your body feeds off the
Yeah.
negativity. It's, yes, give me more, I'm going to make you sick kind of thing. We attract it. And I actually had this rash kind of developing on my arm. In that moment, I realized that it wasn't my brother, it was me. And I was the one doing it myself. Like I was making myself sick. I was starting to build these stories again, going into my mind. And that's when I learned the lesson of the true healing of all the things that I've been carrying. So when you're not experiencing those connections, what they're saying is, Brad, slow down. Okay, anchor yourself back in, get back into stillness, into your heart. I'm here. I've never left you, but there's a sense of you leaving yourself. So when we're in that space,
I do know that she's not left. I know she's here, but it's just this morning I did get a sign actually, and I wasn't asking for
there
it.
you
I
go.
wasn't asking for it. It just showed up.
Beautiful.
But the signs have been very few and far between for the last, I don't even know how many months. I get sparingly here. It's very sporadic.
Yeah. It's, again, it's that homecoming, right? She's giving you the little nudges, right? So one of the things that I would, I guess, ask you, if you don't mind, do you mind
Not at
answering
all.
the question? So what are you still holding on to?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It doesn't even have to be about your grandmother. It's
I don't know.
one thing,
I'm not sure.
something to reflect on. Talk about creating that stillness and using your breath to like anchor that, because I feel like that's like a big part of it. It's like those deep hidden wounds that are in there, that it's beyond the subconscious, it's the unconscious, right? Because we can't like tap into the unconscious mind just with that alone. It requires that stillness, and the breath does help us get there, to ask ourselves that question. So that's something that you can do. Just create some time for yourself, sit with yourself, put some light music on, and then just ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? Or what am I afraid to let go of? Even if it's just for a moment, in that very moment, it's the only thing that matters anyway. So if you can just sit with yourself and just ask, what am I still holding on to, or what I'm afraid to let go? And just what comes through. And don't overthink it. Just allow yourself to, it's not about, let's go
Did you
think about it.
Did you
It's
just
about
meet
letting
me?
it feel.
I am a classic overthink. I will try that though. I will take that advice and try that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely.
What parts of yourself have you had to reclaim in order to stand fully in your power as a spiritual mentor?
My voice, I feel like that was a big one. And just walking the talk. I feel like once I was able to get my voice back and stand strong, because I feel like that was part of my, like that power within me, the ability to speak and to use my voice as kind of like a vibration that is soul led, because our voice is how we connect and how someone can receive a message or that connection. But my voice, my truth is something that I've silenced because, again, wanting to keep the
Yeah.
peace,
Not ruffle
wanting to make sure that
feathers.
everyone
Yeah.
was good. And, but just, I get even going into that subconscious piece, as once I did a lot of the work, I didn't know why I was still had this sense of fear of speaking up. And it was during a plant medicine retreat that I did where that was the very question I asked is, what am I still holding on to? Why am I holding on to this fear? Why am I afraid to speak? It was just to show myself, to present myself. And it's knowing everything I know. And what came through was very powerful. So ever since I was about 5 years old, I'm going to call it more of grooming, molested. And I've changed the word from abuse to experience, because it's part of my experience. And that took a while to kind of go through that. But ever since I was a little girl, 5 years old, I was told, don't say anything, don't tell anyone.
Right.
And that was a big truth that I had to keep within myself. And as you get older, that truth, you build shame on it. And so that piece was anchored so deep into my subconscious that I couldn't bring it to surface without going in to the unconscious part of my brain to bring it to surface. And once I knew that, because I have already forgiven, like I would say I'm honored, and I have this powerful sense of forgiveness. I've forgiven my entire life. And when that moment came, I couldn't understand, like, why was this still lingering? Like, I already forgave all these people. Like, I didn't feel like it was necessarily like this weight, but it was something still stored within me. So that when it came to light, I was able to consciously let it go and take back my power.
That is huge. And again, it's about the work, doing the work. First of all, it's the self-awareness. Then it's, okay, now it's time to get to work. I've got to look within. I have to dig deep and do the work in order. As your brother said, you have to heal yourself first before you can help heal anybody else in the world. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable moment and that vulnerability. I appreciate that. What does it mean to you to lead spiritually in a world that often values speed and all the noise and all the things? Like, we got so many things coming at us at such a quick rate, and ego over depth and truth.
To me, living a spiritual life, and this took a little bit too, was being yourself through the joys, through honoring yourself, through perhaps sad times or when emotions come, to allow yourself to feel them, to be and sit with it, not to let it go, to be in the moment, to, again, dance, whatever brightens you. To me, that is living a spiritual life. It's not what you do. It's honoring yourself that you can be that light. Like, for example, I remember at the time where you would go to a party and there's music, nobody's dancing. You want to dance. Just a little example, but it's incredible how energy works, because I'd be like, the music's going, I don't care. I'm going to go out there, and even if I'm dancing by myself, and it can be off. Sometimes people feel awkward or whatever. But then when you start going out there, what happens?
Other people.
One next one, another one, before you know
The
it,
dance
we're all
floor is full.
dancing.
Yep.
So it's by leading yourself. And every time, and this is something for anyone listening, is every time a nudge comes in, every time a part of you wants to be seen in a way, not for validation, but I want a part of you that wants to be, to express. Don't shut it off. Because if you're in those moments where you feel like I can't be myself right now, you're not in the right space, for one. Like if you can't be yourself, then that's a cue. All right, let's okay. Let's talk about this. Let's bring that to our awareness. Why not? What's happening? Is it the people? What are your experiences? What's happening? Why is this coming up? And the more we can honor ourselves and be that light and be the joy, that's the home.
For sure.
So living a spiritual life is, to me, is just being yourself. And it's not what you see, it's what I do when no one's looking. So I can say all these beautiful things, but then as soon as we're done, what am I going to go do? Am I going to start eating the inappropriate things? Am I start treating my family poorly? Am I going to judge or start talking badly about my neighbor?
Are you living the values?
Right? Yes. Are you walking
The talk.
what you speak and what you share? I think that's the big piece. And any time that I find myself where I'm not in alignment, I can always bring myself back because my body already tells me, come on, let's get back to a meditation, get into a breath work, let's do a little cleansing, whatever it is. I know my body so well that when I'm not in alignment or that feeling comes up where you're now being put in a position where you need to stand your ground, or you just need to be yourself. When all those moments come up, I'm so honored, honestly. To me, this journey, this path is so powerful. It's so healing. It's so loving. Not easy because it's the unpacking and it's in the layers. However, with that being said, anyone going on a healing journey, it's the best work you'll ever do while you're here. That's why we're here.
Sure. Part of it. Yep, absolutely. How has your journey as a spiritual healer transformed your own life and personal beliefs?
Again, being a spiritual healer, every time I hear that, it's being able to embody that for myself as healing myself is the way I can show that for others is being, again, the embodiment of it, being in that energy, being in that light, so others can have a feeling of or sense what that would be like, or that she can have it after everything she's been through, and she's still smiling, she's still carrying this light and this joy. Like, why can't I? And that in itself, that is the soul connection.
Yeah.
Why everybody meets, why we're talking right now, why we've met. And I think that in itself speaks more than words can say.
For sure. I would agree. So as a healer, that can be incredibly tough work, draining spiritually, mentally, physically. So what daily practices or rituals do you follow in order to maintain your spiritual health and your spiritual connection and effectiveness?
So again, going back to the word healer, because I've done a lot of work and I have a very deep understanding and knowing that we are the light, that we come from the light, that divinity lives within me, lives within you. I don't carry that kind of almost like burden or this fogginess, because that's again something that I see often is even when you're in the healing space or you're providing a service or whatnot, a lot of times that is being done to fill a void. Everyone feels good doing something. It is part of the healing, but it can also be covering like a mat that we're not wanting to show.
Yeah.
And so I honor when someone's like either crying, purging, going through their journey, when they're in discomfort. I don't carry that with me at all. It brings me actually joy. I'm like, yes, you are doing
Cleansing,
the work.
yeah.
It's the cleansing. I don't take on the energy. And if at any point that I do, it's because I'm
Right.
off. So I've really have learned through my journey and what I do to honor the person's experience and not take that with me. But in terms of my own spiritual practice and connection, whether I need some clarity in something or maybe I'm feeling a sense of heaviness and maybe I don't know where that's coming from. I love meditation. I love going for walks in nature. I speak out loud. And probably that someone will look at me and like, there she goes, speaking to herself again. But I speak, and this is something my husband in the beginning, he's, oh my gosh, please, I hope to. But you get used to, because we all do it, right? We all have those moments where we are conversing, we're having that inner dialogue. And when we speak out loud, believe it or not, if you start speaking your thoughts out loud, you can stop yourself, because you'd be like, oh my gosh, am I really, especially if you're in that kind of like negative train, like you start hearing yourself say it. It's sometimes that alone can be like, whoa, did I just really say that? Or in a constant repetition. But I would say that those would be my top ones, is grounding myself, creating, allowing myself to do nothing, right? To just be, whether I'm with my children or I'm just hanging out. But I feel like even me being in the healing space, I'm essentially like a tool for someone. The meditation, it's a tool. Breathwork is a tool. And even though all these things, like anything can be, I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say that you can use meditation or your breath. However, even within that, we can get lost in it, because we still need to be able to function in the world and not just constantly feel like you need to be in this elevated state all the time. Because if that's the case, then you're still carrying a lot of fear.
You're running from something.
That is not allowing you to be present in the world. So it's just with anything. You can work out too much, hurt yourself, right?
True.
And it's the same thing. If it's finding what feels right for you and honoring that, no matter what it looks like for anybody else. But if you feel good with it, then that's all that matters.
What would you say then is one of the most dangerous beliefs we carry with us about healing? And what's the soul truth that we need to replace it with?
This is something that many people I hear say is, I wish I could be my old self. And that thought can keep you stuck for a very long time, almost like not moving anywhere, repeating the same cycles, doing the same things over and over. Because the reality is, you will never be your old self.
True.
So that thought of wishing that things would be different, or wishing that I wish I had that, or I wish, like, I remember back in the day, I used to be so lovely, I used to laugh all the time. Now, right, all these things, it's that weight, right? So the thought of thinking of, I wish I could be a past version of myself, can be very distracting, and people don't realize how that can hold them back from their growth. So the truth is that healing is coming back to the self that you were born into this world, right? And it's the journey as you started peeling the layers. It's a remembering, right? So it's remembering that love exists within you. You are love. The light is within you. It may be clouded by some darkness, but it's there. It's always been there. And we all have that little soft spot. Even the angriest person I've ever met has still a soft spot. They're the most emotional people, I think, that I've ever met. Those who carry a lot of anger, carry this kind of sweetness inside that they don't even know that they have.
Yeah.
And when I do, for example, like breathwork sessions with someone and they're carrying so much, it's so emotional for the person to, I'm going to cry thinking about it because I can think of so many people, but it's a feeling that comes back, like a remembering that says, even though you've been through all of what you've been through, the life that you had, you are still loved. You are enough, and you're not broken. Because once those feelings come up, it's like this instant weight is just lifted. And that in itself can be like the stepping stone for someone to start to believe that, yes, I'm not broken. I am worthy of love.
I am love.
I am love. So those moments are really moving, and it can, again, meeting so many people in all different walks of life. Everybody, every single human being has the beautiful softness inside. Everybody.
Absolutely. What do you hope that each person you sit with and do work with remembers about themselves after being in your presence?
That I have helped them see their own light. I think that would, I think that's part of, I feel like my mission is being in that embodiment and sharing who I am can can spark a remembering, can spark an awakening, like a feeling that they probably they haven't felt in a very long
Mm,
time. And I think that's where I carry my, well, I'm not going to say like my magic, but I feel like that's like my kind of like my
yeah.
superpower is that when there's someone that sits beside me, again, all walks of life, or is connected with me, or has had a conversation with me, it's very evident that it's that I speak from the soul, that I speak from the heart, and it's like I don't have to portray myself as anything. And I think being able to awaken something in someone just by being myself is so powerful. So I feel like that is how I would like to be
Okay.
remembered.
What part of your spiritual power scared you the most before you fully owned it?
I had to create a boundary when I first started connecting with spirit, and also in being in and protecting myself, my space. Now I don't. Every time I say I meditate or I'm going to do any type of practice, I always protect my space. It's just become now a little ritual I do. But in the beginning, I was like an open portal. I
Um,
felt that it's like Nubia, she's finally awakened. Let's get her. like, like she knows. So I was going to anywhere I was going. I was going to the grocery store. I was go anywhere I was doing, going for walks or whatever. I'd be like, for example, I'd be walking down the street and with my dog, and then a person's coming through, and spirit would be say something to that person like, I'm here. It was just constant. I was constantly hearing spirit. It was like this, when you're in a really loud room and you're like, and people are, so it's called like that, but it would be very like pronounced. It'll be like, and I knew who it was for. So I, and that space and owning and protecting and guarding my space is how I'll retain that, because basically it's okay. You can't just come in whenever
yeah.
you want. And protecting my space when I was going, because when you're going through a healing journey, when you're out there, there are also evil entities as
For
well, right? When someone's going on their healing journey, when it's like you're in a very vulnerable state, that can sometimes become clouded because it's like that evil entity doesn't want you to go that path. And so I do remember going through a phase. It only happened a couple times, but I felt that negative energy come through. And in that moment, I reclaimed my power. And I asked for divine guidance or protection, and boom, it was gone. And I had to do that twice consciously, because now once you become aware of it and I was able to finally let it go and have that protection around me, it just never, they finally just said, oh, she's in the
she's
light,
protected for
protected.
sure.
I was able to ground myself. And so I feel like that for me in the
Mhm.
beginning is just being able to protect my space and invite spirit in when I
Yeah.
want and not just
Yeah.
time. And then ensuring that anytime I do a spiritual practice, that I'm always
Hmm.
protected.
Okay.
I create that
Thank you
space,
for
yeah.
sharing that. What uncomfortable truth did your spirit force you to face, even when your ego wanted to run?
An uncomfortable truth. I feel like it was, again, I always go back to the fear, right? Because I think there's parts and like waves in the journey where, I think it's normal to go through that experience, but to feel like I kind of almost like going back to like little slightly old patterns, like everything's fine, I don't fear
Mhm.
this and that. And it was the experience that it's okay, because there's parts that were still like lingering there. And again, going back to sharing my voice and speaking up and creating this, not like this perfect human being in the sense of, yes, Nikki's grounded, she's this, she's that. I'm still a human
Yeah.
being. I still experience, I still
Hmm.
feel, but I've turned that in to every time new feelings do come up or any senses I've really done really well with triggers. I very seldomly get triggered. If anything, probably not
Yeah.
at all. But all of that would be, it's almost as if I had this feeling of, oh, I should be better than this, or I already know, why am I feeling this? Almost like creating like this standard that I should be at. But then it's kind of, yeah, bring it down a little
Take it
bit, down a
notch. Yeah.
notch, take it down a notch. And I think that is, and I would say within the last year, I really worked a lot
Hmm.
on that. And that having that just now look at it and be like, all right, I know where, like, say, I need to work on, all things I need to improve or all that. And there's no
Yeah,
hiding that, right? Because if I am, then I'm only
for
sabotaging
sure.
myself, right? So anytime there's anything that new that comes up, I'm able to receive it with
Mhm.
open arms. And I'm like, all right, let's tackle this too, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that would probably be it for
Okay.
me. Yeah, yeah.
If your soul wrote a letter to the world, what would the first line say, and what would it never apologize for?
I would definitely never apologize for being myself and sharing who I am and my own truth. But what I would say to the world is remember who you are. Remember who you are, not what society has told you to be or to become. That feeling within you is there for a reason. Follow that and let the light
Mhm.
guide you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What's an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
The death of my brother. Every day, I am so grateful. Every day, I'm so grateful. I can laugh about it now. It truly is a blessing. It has changed my life. And it's almost like it brought me back to the path. That's why in my heart, I know that I had to go through this, like, just almost like rapidly in a way, because healing can take a very long
Hmm.
time. But it's like my brother said, okay, we need to like fast track a little bit. That's why he connected me right away. We need to go here. We need to get you on
Hmm.
track. And it's, but this was all also part of the
Yeah.
plan. But I feel like I just lost myself in a train of thought. But the biggest blessing is that because I've come back to myself. I have a beautiful relationship with my children, with my husband, and my connection to spirit is so beautiful. Bless you. It's everything became better. And it sounds kind of silly to say, but everything just became better when my brother
Hmm.
died. It's there's no way that maybe my own children would have been able to have the relationship that they have right now if he was still alive. My children know my brother for who he was
Hmm.
born to be, the spirit that he is, the love that he brings, the light that he brings, the joy that he shares with them still till today. And it's
I love
beautiful.
that.
My children, oh my gosh, they have such a beautiful relationship with my brother. It's incredible that he's doing all the uncle things in their dreams, visiting, being present in their birthdays, all of
Love
that.
it.
It's wonderful. Just like the other night, my daughter was like, "Yeah, Tio Justin, he came and we went for chocolate ice cream. Like it's his favorite." And those little things make me
Yeah.
laugh so much because when we were kids, I don't know if you remember the Napoleon ice cream, which is like
Neapolitan. Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah. Oh,
vanilla.
yeah. Yeah. I love
It was
that.
Neapolitan, so it
Yep.
is. He used to eat all the chocolate all the time. By the time I got there, like the whole chocolate strip was gone. I'm like, dude, what the heck? So it makes me laugh because they're like, oh, chocolate ice cream was his favorite and brings
Yeah,
back
for
the silly
sure.
memories. But it's very healing, very
That is
loving.
healing.
It's
That's
awesome.
beautiful. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I know this is gonna sound like redundant, but being myself,
Yeah.
truthfully, I think that's everyone's
One of them,
superpower.
for sure. We all have
Yeah,
multiple
like
superpowers.
yourself, of course, but I think it's
Yeah.
ignited by
Yep.
being yourself. Because when you this is the beauty of this journey, and that's why I'm so excited about it, because there's constantly, right when you think I'm good, I know things are rolling, it's boom, another door opens. I'm like, whoa. You walk into that one, you're in that journey, it's boom, another door opens. And that's the beauty of the journey and how healing. It's like the journey doesn't want to pin you down and make you suffer or anything like that. But when you surrender to it, it starts to give you those little nudges. See what happens when you let go of that, when you're able to open up to that. And it's okay, now you can walk a little bit more and open that door. And it's the same thing. See what happens when you went into that door, and look what happened with the person you saw that came into your life that now is doing this, and it's so on and so on, right? So it starts to allow yourself to just anchor yourself in a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper until like you're fully immersed in being grounded and being yourself and honoring yourself. And no matter how it is that you are and how anybody views you, but if you are in, like, have peace and just love everything about you, that is the superpower. So being myself is, for me, has been like the greatest gift that I've given myself. And now I can share that with others, which is beautiful.
For sure. Part of your work here.
Yeah, my superpower.
Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
So success to me is enjoying the quiet moments, enjoying being in stillness, appreciating nature. I think that's one of the greatest gifts of that success mindset, because everything, once you start to own your truth and your gifts to start to unfold naturally, it just, you attract it without even trying. It's like, I never grew up thinking that this is what I was going to be doing.
Of course.
I've been doing it in my own way my entire life. But to really own into my truth and knowing that you can connect with your loved one in spirit. You believe it, and the love is there to expand and to become open. That is part of my core message. The grief can be debilitating,
for sure,
and can really hold someone anchored in the same spot day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And to finally come forward and knowing that love never dies, spirit is eternal. It is like our birthright to be able to connect and to be guided through our walk of life. And success is exactly that, because I'm not going to even say that it's out there with the things that you do. It's who you are. Because I know a lot of people doing so many things, even great things. But if they're not feeling it, if they're still in the not enough, I got to keep doing more, trying to find that self-worth or this kind of sense of why I'm even here in the first place. Success to me is going through the journey and embodying who you are, the light within you, and just being present, fully present, moment by moment.
That's all we have is this moment right now. So you have to be present in it.
Right,
for
this
sure.
moment.
What is?
So now it might not be what people like to hear.
No,
but
it's the truth, though.
It's
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment to me is being full and wildly free.
Okay. Beautiful. I love it.
Because I think that's huge. Even being able to be here, speaking with you, sharing, talking, and not holding back. And that is empowerment. Being free, feeling whole, knowing that you're whole.
Love it.
And know that you're being guided and you're loved is so powerful.
For sure.
Empowerment is embodying who you are and living free, wildly free.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing, okay?
Okay, sure.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Sovereign.
What was the other one? Sovereign?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sovereign.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
Meditation.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
To connect to the loved ones in spirit.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
That I want, that cannot buy with money. Healing for humanity.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
The joy I can bring into people's lives.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My heart.
What is one word that defines the woman you're becoming?
Wow. You made me think about that one. One word. The woman that I'm becoming. Free.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
It wasn't too rapid, but
I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. If you could take one feeling or one belief, bottle it up and give it to people, what would it be?
one
Or
feeling?
belief, yeah. I somehow knew that was going to be your answer.
Little.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
But you didn't ask me? I don't know. Why didn't you ask me? I guess with what I do and my mission, but I think you already know that. But for those who are maybe like listening through the pain that I went through and experienced came a mission. So my mission, and really what is your mission and why I do what I do and why I'm with the work that I do with people in the healing space and whatnot. It's what is your mission? And my mission is to help people see the light within themselves and to remember who they are and the capabilities that they have in connecting with spirit and honoring their gifts, so we can heal one heart, one soul at a time. And that is how the world ending.
Love it. Beautiful mission. That's an amazing, beautiful, inspirational mission. I love it. And you will accomplish it. I have no doubt. That's it.
One soul at a time.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
My mom. This is going to bring up a lot of emotion for me because I feel like one of the things that I would tell her and then just have that undivided attention where she can just listen and only at the end thoughts. But I would just, oh my gosh, just tell her how amazing she is and everything that she had to hide and endure and to almost pretend that everything's okay. And just for that 1 hour, I would want her to just let it all go and just be with me and allow her to speak her truth. Allow her to share whatever's in her heart without the fear of what she's saying can hurt someone or trigger someone or anything like that. It's just because I don't think I know my mom, the rawness of who she truly is.
What a beautiful conversation.
I feel her spirit. Yeah. I feel like I can feel her spirit, but she's never been able to fully embody who she is.
That's powerful.
So
thank you for sharing that. If you could go back, Nubbia, and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Be yourself. Don't listen to anybody.
Okay.
That. I think because my truth has been something that I've really been, my voice opening up my throat. It's been one of those things where if I would have spoken up sooner and shared my true feelings, no matter what the repercussions would have been, sure, maybe things could have been different, but I'm proud of her. I really am. Even if she couldn't speak up, she still knew the truth.
Love it.
Still knew. So,
lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
oh man, my 30-second speech. I'm going to envision this as if I was like about to die.
Okay.
Like in that.
All right.
And I'm going to say this also as if I was speaking to my children. But when I speak to them, I'm also speaking to the world. And it would be, sorry, I need to close my eyes to be in the
that's
moment.
okay.
But it would be, sweetheart, you are amazing beyond words. The love that you carry within you is so bright. It carries a kind of joy that cannot be fabricated. It is within you to share, to express, to be. The light within you is meant to shine. Don't let it dwindle. Don't let it hide. Show who you are. Be confident. Your strength is not in hiding. Your strength is by sharing your vulnerability, sharing who you are, and loving every part of you, and knowing that everything and anything that happens in your life is part of your journey. Honor it. By doing so, you come back to yourself.
Beautifully said. Amazingly beautiful way to end the conversation, Nubbia. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for all of your incredible vulnerability, for your sharing, for your light, the beautiful light you put out into the world. It was an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here. I have thoroughly enjoyed every moment of our conversation, as I do with every conversation that we have. I appreciate you, and I am incredibly grateful to have you as a member of the Empowerography community and to be able to call you a friend. So thank you for being here with me today and for sharing.
Absolutely. It's an honor. It's always fun.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Nubbia Quezada. She is a spirit connector, healer, spiritual mentor, who guides others on their journeys of self-discovery and transformation. She's also a speaker. Thank you so much, Nubbia. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.